now that Florida State's out of it, do you have any hopes, teams that you're rooting for that you would like to see in the conference championship game?
I guess by default it would have to be Wake Forest, just because I'm always going to dislike Clemson. NC State, I still dislike them from the Philip Rivers days. So I'd probably Wake Forest by default. Plus, Wake Forest, if they win the ACC, can't go to the Orange Bowl this year since that's a playoff game. So we won't have pissed off fans with no alcohol being sold. So that's a positive, I guess, for the Orange Bowl committee. So that's
So the disdain for North Carolina State, it just happened to start during the Philip Rivers days, or it's pointed toward Philip Rivers?
Philip Rivers talked so much crap when he was at NC State and never won anything. He talked so much crap for somebody who never won the ACC once, but yet he acted like he was Trevor Lawrence, and that's just I'm done with him. I'm done with him. He was nothing in the NFL. I'm sorry.
Philip Rivers was nothing in the NFL?
He was overrated. He was overrated. I'm sorry. This is just a hot take. We're bringing the hot take back for this one. I think Philip Rivers was an overrated quarterback. I think he was a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong.
That's what he was.
He was a good quarterback, but I don't think he was as good as people put him on a certain level. He was great at making children. He's got 25 of them?
Something in that range.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. He's maybe currently spitting out some more. I don't know. I won't keep up with it.
Good Catholic boy, having enough to fill up an entire parish at this rate, but.
All right. Mike Myrick on the line. We appreciate you encouraging everyone to hit the like button and support here at the Voice of College Football. As we talk Florida State, NC State. I have not looked at the point spread on this one. I would guess NC State 3.
3.5. I'll hold up half a pinky right there. 3.5, I think
it's
it was.
Going to go slightly higher than that.
Oh, okay.
Boone is letting us know that Norvell has to win this game or Florida State misses a bowl game. Well, not technically, but we get the point. Sad part is Clemson sucks. Florida State blew it. No moral victories, gentlemen. Travis was awful.
And see, here's and Boomer, I'm sorry. I'm going to disagree with Boomer here a little bit on this one. The argument of Clemson being 4-3, and that automatically means Clemson sucks. Once again, let's go back to who Clemson's 3 losses were. Georgia, with arguably the best defense in at least the recent history of college football. You could make an argument for an all-time great defense right there. A ranked NC State team and a ranked Pitt team. They lost to good teams. Yes, they are not the same Clemson that they have been in past years, but Clemson does not suck. Clemson is still a good team. We have to stop acting once again like we're still on this level. We're the team that lost to Jacksonville State, guys. This is not a year that we need to act cocky and make fun of other teams at this rate. We are 3-5 because we lost to Jacksonville State. We lost to the Gamecocks. It could. Mr. HD, I know he's a Cane. I hate to agree with him, but we could. There's a decent chance we could lose this week.
Well, absolutely. NC State's a better football team than Florida State, but much like I've stated the entire season, throw out Duke. Pitt and NC State a couple weeks ago appeared to be the best teams in the conference, probably still are, but they both lost to Miami the last 2 weeks. You could throw out any matchup to me in the ACC, and I'd say, I'll guess who's going to win, but I don't know.
Mark, it's the ACC circle of suck. Let me go through it with you real quick. Florida State beat North Carolina, who beat Virginia, who beat Miami, who beat NC State, who beat Louisville, who beat Florida State. I know that wasn't a circle, but it's the circle of suck in the ACC this year. So yes, this is an NC State team who, like you said, on paper, should come into Tallahassee and win the game convincingly by 7 to 10 points. This is also the same NC State team that came down to Miami. And I'm sorry, I'll give Miami credit. Miami controlled that game. From the start of that game till the end, Miami had control of that game. And this was a Miami team that was coming off a 2-game losing streak and was 2-4 entering that game, and their season was essentially over at that point. So this is the question: is which NC State team is going to show up? Is it going to be that NC State team that looks hot against Clemson, that looks hot last week against a Louisville team that beat us by, I would argue, more than what the final score was? Or is it going to be the NCC team that's coming in cocky like they did against Miami and gets sent back out of the state of Florida with a loss?
Well, Jason, to kind of take your point that you just made about the circle of life in the ACC, I'm going to say that those two NC State teams aren't that different. The team that beat Miami by 1 point and the team that lost to Miami by 1 point and the team that beat Clemson in overtime are probably that much different. That's the point I'm making. It's razor thin in this conference. Syracuse was supposed to be an awful team. And they started to play really close to teams like Florida State and Wake that they took to overtime. And now they're starting to win games in the conference.
And this is why Wake Forest, we can agree or disagree on this one. This is why even if Wake Forest is undefeated, will not even sniff the playoff. Because the ACC right now has no credibility as a competitive Power 5 conference this season to give Wake Forest. Even if Wake Forest beats NC State and Clemson in the final month of the season, that's not going to be enough, I think, to get Wake Forest over the top into one of the Final Four spots. Especially when when they've already got, an Oregon team in there with a loss in the first four, or an Alabama team that's number 2. I'm sorry, come on, really, Alabama number 2 playoff team? Stop playoff. Stop it. You're drunk.